Yes, I can now hear you. Thank you so much for joining us. What's your reaction to this new development?
It is very funny because one thing is Parliament knows, and even Honorable Chris Baryomunsi also knows, that the amendment that extended the term of Parliament was illegally done. And there's a very likelihood of it being set aside by the court. So what are they going to harmonize if that one is set aside and is likely to be set aside? So how do you harmonize that one through a referendum with the presidential term? So even if the presidential term is extended through a referendum, the other one will be set aside because it was passed illegally. And Honorable Chris Baryomunsi knows it. They used the violence, and they introduced matters that had not been in the bill. They introduced matters that had not been sanctioned by the Minister of Finance. At least the Minister of Finance had not shown the cost, the implications, the cost implications in holding these elections at different times.
Okay, so if I could just come in there.
Yes.
If I could just come in there, we know that there's a petition that has been lodged in the Constitutional Court, so we cannot really tell whether it's going to be, whether the court is going to pronounce itself on, for or against the fact that it was passed illegally. So some would say that they have a right to go ahead and propose and then, table it before Parliament.
You see, they are proposing it, but if they are very serious and they want to hold a referendum, it has to be contingent on what the court will decide. So I don't see how they can put national resources for such an event when the matter has to be decided by the court.
Okay. Let's just talk about the referendum in general. It's not the first time that, Ugandans are going to be deciding on a matter like this, especially, where it involves the president, and there's been a lot of talk on whether this really is about President Museveni and whether this is just not giving him, an extension of what many have called a life presidency. Do you agree with that?
Of course he wants to become life president. Actually, you see, Amin was a fool to have pronounced himself life president. Museveni is clever. He does not pronounce himself life president, but actually all he's doing is for him to rule this country till he drops dead. That's exactly what he's trying to do. And actually, Ugandans can only be fools if they don't see through this. So this referendum will be held. My thinking, especially my thinking is that most honorable people will boycott it, and those who will participate will be beaten, imprisoned, charged with the treason, others exiled, their businesses destroyed, and those few will just give up and say, let Museveni rule till he drops dead. So that referendum, if it was to be held in a free and fair circumstances, it is very well known that Museveni will not win it. But as usual, they will beat up people, kill a few, imprison many, and people's businesses ended and that kind of thing, and others bribed.
Okay, again,
as it has always been done.
Again, this is really a hypothetical question. So we're saying that there's
what is hypothetical?
No, what I'm about to ask you, there's a petition in court, and you're saying that if the court pronounces itself and says, okay, go ahead, this is going to Parliament, so they go to Parliament, and then there's a referendum that is held, and Ugandans vote to stay or, to maintain the status quo, which is 5 years. And there's a parliamentary term of 7 years. And yet, Baryomunsi and his team says that they want to harmonize with the president and the parliament. Where does that leave us?
Exactly. Sheila, this is not hypothetical. All these are very possible possibilities. And therefore, this notion of them harmonizing, really, you see, the thing is they acted illegally right from the word go. And that they are now caught in a trap, and they are finding it hard to wriggle out.
All right, so you
they never acted in good faith. If they had acted in good faith and followed the law, maybe we would not be in this quagmire.
Okay, thank you so much. I've been speaking to Ladislaus Rwakafuzi, a constitutional lawyer who is speaking to us from Uganda. Thank you so much, Ladislaus Rwakafuzi. Of course, that's a story.
It's a pleasure. Good night.
Thank you and good night.